Hello, welcome to I Need Scrum Master. Welcome to my channel. If this is the first time you are visiting me, thank you so much. I am glad that you took out your time to visit me today. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for always trusting and coming back. As a way of introduction, I am JB, John Bosco. Today, I will be highlighting or giving some highlights on a very important question a lot of people have been asking me. Most people have been asking, perhaps you might be also be wondering, is Scrum the best solution in all circumstances? Are there times that Scrum might not be the best fit to work on software development? What other framework could we use in order to resolve or work on issues? So these are some of the questions that a lot of people have been asking, and I thought I could be able to contribute to that ongoing conversation. So if you are in that kind of scenario where you are not sure about what to say or what to contribute, I would encourage you to sit and let's scrum together. As a housekeeping reminder, please, if this is the first time you're visiting me, please click the subscribe button down there, like and share this content. Tell your friends, tell your colleagues about I Need Scrum Master, and let's scrum together. At some point in time, please, if you feel you have any question, you have a comment section, drop your comments, either in terms of statement or question, and then we can always, I'll try as much as I can to respond to you. All right, so if Scrum is not the solution, then what is? The honest thing is, I would say, perhaps it has been said in different ways, but Scrum is not the silver bullet in all situations. There are times when Scrum might not be the best fit to resolve issues. There are times when we have to fall back to maybe different tools or different frameworks. But today I am going to limit our conversation. If Scrum is not the solution, what is? Right, so I don't know how far you've heard about Scrum and how much exposed you are. If you are a practicing Scrum Master and Agile coach, I believe that this might be a very important conversation. If you're also looking forward to become a Scrum Master, perhaps today might be an important day for you, because sometimes in interviews, employers might be wondering to know your opinion or thoughts about, if Scrum doesn't really help to resolve issue, what should we do? So now I am providing with that answer on how you can navigate such question. There is a framework called Cynefin. Cynefin is a framework that helps to make a sense of understanding the situation you are and deciding a solution appropriate you could take. What that means is Cynefin helps you to analyze the situation and then take an approach, an introspective approach on what's best to do at that particular situation. So that idea of analyzing the situation and thinking what to do is called the Cynefin framework. And there are basically 5 domains in Cynefins. What that means is 5 situations where you have to be able to take that approach. We have a simple domain, we have complicated domain, we have chaotic domain, we have complex domain, and we have disorder domain. 5 domains. In other words, you can say 5 domains or 5 situations. That summarizes problem-solving scenarios. Now, let's take a look at each of those scenarios and see at what point in time does Scrum help to resolve, and at what point in time does Scrum not help, right? And again, what I'm going to show us today is not like a deep conversation, but a high-level explanation. Again, every situation might be different, but if you take a deep analysis on that, you can really figure out where each of those situations fall into in terms of this Cynefin framework. The first is an image I've kind of summarizes what our conversation is going to look like. Well, this image, I think, might be tiny or might not really giving us a sense of what I'm trying to say, but I just showed us this image in a way to get you curious. Slides that follows after this image kind of shows the characteristics of what each of those domains exemplify and how Scrum fits in perfectly or how Scrum does not fit in into those scenarios. So you might take a look at this image in order to have an understanding of what really characterizes each of those domains. But I would move on ahead in explaining the other slides in terms of what each of those domains include and how Scrum either provides a solution or doesn't. Starting with the simple domain. Right, so first, let's take a look at the characteristics of the simple domain, right? In a simple scenario, a simple situation, the cause and effect are obvious. They are very self-evident. We know what cause is. Causality, if I have to use a philosophical term, cause and effect, what causes something and the result of what causes that is always self-evident. And the answer is obvious. We can see the answer is right before us. There are known solutions, right? And then the question is Scrum the perfect solution for that? Well, Scrum could be used in this situation, but the right process is to have a well-defined, repeatable set of process in place. Just for example, it is not that waterfall is, bad entirely. There are some aspects of waterfall that really helps in resolving issues. For example, when could we use waterfall? It says we could use waterfall in a situation where we have a stable environment, where environment is predictable. The same applies in a simple domain when everything is obvious, the answer is obvious, the cause and effect is obvious, right? Scrum could help us to resolve whatever issue in that situation, but having a well-defined, ironed out process that is repeatable, that is the best solution to adopt at that point in time. The second is the complex domain. For a lot of people, myself included, Scrum is the perfect solution to use at this point. That is why, in a part, what makes Scrum very popular as against other agile frameworks. In this domain, there is this sense of emergence, right? We are always exploring, learning as we go. In Scrum, it provides us opportunity to learn every time. Activities is opportunity for us to learn. The idea of inspecting and adapting is very much inclusive. It is self-evident. It is available. According to the Scrum Guide, there are 3 Scrum pillars. We have transparency, we have adaptation, we have inspection. To inspect means to review. To adapt means to adjust. Change is constant. So in complex situation, we are learning, we are exploring, we are inspecting, and we are adapting, right? It requires creativity and innovation, right? And encourages a high level of interaction and communication. And if we have to take you back again to that 12 agile principles, communication was highly encouraged. Business people and software developers are encouraged to have that communication, teamwork. So in a complex situation, when we have this scenario, right, it requires Scrum to be able to help to resolve the issue. Complicated domain. Well, You might be asking, what is the difference between complicated domain and complex domain? It is very obvious. One requires learning as we go. One requires reviewing, inspecting as we go. But complicated domain is all about bunch of experts. In Scrum, well, even though we have a Scrum Master, Agile coaches, release training engineers, these are people who are highly skilled to make sure that we maintain that environment either in an agile environment or in a safe. In a complicated environment, it involves experts. We have a lot of answers, but for us to get adult answers, it requires the input of those experts. And you can mostly find this environment in software maintenance or in a product support. And it appears as Scrum might work here, but it's not the perfect fit to resolve any kind of issues that might arise. The other framework or the other domain or other aspect is the chaotic domain. In this chaotic domain, it requires rapid response. Rapid response. Let's say, for example, product owner is not available, he's on a vacation, and there happens to be a very error in the algorithm that has been published on iOS or Google Play Store. An error. I mean, we wouldn't be waiting for the product owner to return. Perhaps the product owner is the only one empowered, formally to publish apps or publish updates or publish whatever on the on the production environments. But if the technical lead is available to help to resolve such situation, then an immediate action should be taken at that point in time without waiting for the product owner who is away. So Scrum at this point in time might not be the best solution to apply. Right? It requires us to understand what kind of environment it is. Is it very chaotic? Is it something that without taking an immediate effect, it's going to have a ripple effect? If that is so, then we need to find out a perfect solution to be able to resolve such situation. The last but not the least of the domain is the disorder domain. The disorder domain simply entails when you are or when the person involved tries to identify where he or she falls into, then that simply shows that the person is really in a disorder domain. For example, if we take a look again backwards to this image I showed us previously, we could see that at the center of this cross sign is where we have the disorder. What does that mean? It means that there is no, the struggle of, oh, do I belong here? Do I belong here? Do I belong here? Or do I belong here? So there is that cataclysmic nature of, struggle to identify where the person belongs to, right? And that summarizes the idea of knowing when to apply Scrum and when not to apply Scrum. I've had a conversation in the past where someone was asking me, okay, we have this situation. Would you agree with me that Scrum might not be the best bet? I took a step backwards, and then I started the conversation, or I started my response by saying, why do you think that Scrum might not be the best answer in this situation? And then we started piecing together, why it's not and why it could be so, right? So the idea is, as a Scrum Master and as an Agile coach or as an Agile consultant, we need to honestly identify at what point could we say that Scrum could not take us over that barrier or that challenge that individuals, teams, and organizations are struggling with. And it requires inept Scrum Master or an inept Agile coach who has a very in-depth knowledge to sit down and analyze and tries to come up with a potential solution on how Scrum could or could not help to solve the problem. So the simple and straightforward answer today is Scrum is not the silver bullet in all software development problems. With this Cynefin framework, it is all about trying to understand, analyzing the situation and figuring out, is it a complex situation? Is it a chaotic situation? Is that a disorder? Is that a simple? Is that a I mean, it's all about trying to figure out what does the situation entails and what could be the adverse effect if something is not really taken into effect right away. That's where we're going to stop for today. Again, if you like this presentation, if you like my explanation, please hit the like button. Help me to reach a number of people. I know a number of people have been interested in becoming Scrum Master, certified or professional Scrum Master. What you need to do is to email me at info@ineedscrummaster.com and we can have that conversation. Or you can visit www.ineedscrummaster.com and you can schedule a free consultation and we can have that conversation. If you're also an individual or a group of people or even teams who wants to get trained, visit ineedscrummaster.com or you can email me info@ineedscrummaster.com and we can have that conversation. It's a 6-week class that I have to meet with you at your own convenience time so that I will train you and equip you, not just theoretically, but also in a practical perspective. If this is the first time you're visiting me, thank you again for coming to my channel. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that you will always get a notification anytime that I release new contents, because I'm always trying as much as I can to reach my audience who are always eager to Scrum with me and for us to not just to do Agile, but also to be Agile. Help me to share this on your social media platforms, on your Facebook, on your Instagram, or whatever social media you use to communicate with your audience. Tell them about I Need Scrum Master. Perhaps even tell your company or even your team members about I Need Scrum Master, and together we will Scrum. All right. Thank you once again, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.